I am one of your hosts, Kente, all the way live from Los Angeles, California. And this is episode number 144. And I'm joined by my wonderful co-host, the one and only Shannon. How you doing, Shannon?
I am good. How are you? How was your weekend?
Man, weekend was busy. Got to do quite a bit of stuff.
Hmm.
Uh, was lazy one of the days and very productive the other day. So
Okay.
uh, it was a good weekend. What about yours?
Well, I just ended a 3 week, no days off work streak. So I'm getting ready to enjoy this week off.
You know what? I can see that in your
Oh,
face.
wow.
I'm
You look
tired.
like yeah, you look like it. You know, just to get not to go off on a tangent, but man, if we could just have clones of ourselves, wouldn't that be great?
Excellent.
A total of four of them.
Oh my God! You know what? If I could just get one good clone, put his butt to work, and then I can do what I really, really, really want to do all the time. I'm good with that. I'll be 100% good with that. So yeah, but that's me though. That's in my little bird brain. So we are blessed to have a guest who I've been wanting on the show for a long time. I've known this young lady for a quite a long time. Um, we have something in common: our love of hip hop, and not only a love for hip hop music, but a love for the classic era hip hop music. And when I found out that she was putting her love out there for the world, I had to have her on to talk about it. And also, what's so great is the show I actually initially wanted to do with her was about etiquette, because this young lady used to teach etiquette. We've had conversations quite a bit about etiquette and in our society and whatnot. So um, I know this lady under a different name. Now she has a totally different name that she goes by. I mean, not totally different, quite different. So I'm gonna let this lady introduce herself. Uh, what's your stage? What's your stage name now?
Malika Shik.
Malaika Shik. Uh, Now I like that. It's chic. I love it. I love it. I love it. And I'm just so happy to have you here. And not only and you are dibbling and dabbling in a lot of different venues and really letting your creative juices come out, and I really appreciate that about you. So just for those who don't know much about you, just kind of give a little bit background on who you are.
Okay, once again, my name is Malika Shik. I'm a native of Southern California. To be more exact, I'm from South Central LA. Right now, I currently reside in a small little town called Paris, California, in Riverside County, 70 miles east of LA County. And I have worked in various, I guess you could say, nonprofit organizations. And I have also in the past, I had a small business where I taught etiquette to kids ages 3 to 18 years old. And I did it in a church setting, in I guess you could say a one on one setting, Girl Scouts as well. And I also did it in girl homes, like a group home as well. So I did that for a while too. Now, unfortunately, when the economy took a dive in 2000, what was that? 9, 10?
Hey,
The business, yeah, 2010, I believe. The business it didn't go well. I start losing clients because unfortunately my business is considered that extracurricular activity that's not needed, where that'd be the first things that parents will probably take away, and they're like, oh, I could get you a book and I could do it myself, or you read the book. So, or and then some of the programs, like the Girl Scouts, they were losing also Girl Scouts as well at that time. So they started teaching it themselves to their crew of girls. I should say troop of girls.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. So we're gonna get really heavy into that, and I'm gonna ask you, and I'm sure Shannon has a lot of questions too about that specifically. But one of the things that we often, me and you, have talked about is, as I said in the beginning of the show, is our love for hip hop music. And
Right.
so you're working on a series right now where you delve deep into that and where it came from. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, I'm on Instagram. Instagram is a new platform for me. And so my platform is called PMS, and it stands for Politics, Money, Society. So you can find me on Instagram at underscore PMS247 underscore. And what I'm doing right now is a whole rap series, and I call it My First Love Rap Music. So I broke it down into the first episode is how old I was when I first heard rap, which I was 5, what song I heard, what group it was, who exposed it to me, which it was the first rap song I ever heard was um it was by sorry, brain freeze. It was by the Sugar Hill Gang.
Mm-hmm.
And my uncle Clarence was the one that exposed me to it. And I was 5 years old. And I just remember my little ears was just so excited when I first heard it, because back then I remember I used to love disco music. And so when I first heard the Sugar Hill Gang rap song, I just I got excited because I was like, oh, it sounds like disco is in it, but then it's something else different. And so ever since that first exposure to the Sugar Hill Gang, I just been a fan of rap music.
If you remember, the early hip hop was heavy disco influence, because we kind of, just like you said, we just came out of that era, or we were
Right,
still in it. So a lot of the samples and a lot of the music came, it was, disco was heavily influenced. And
right.
I think disco gets a bad rap.
It does.
It
I,
does.
there's a lot of great disco tunes. And I think because people always have such a negative feel about
Mhm.
disco, but if you really think about it, there's a lot of great music in the disco genre, and your early hip hop definitely
Grab from
ran
disco.
from disco, yeah. And so the Sugar Hill Gang, who I think they had the first hit song.
Yes, they did. They had the first hit song that kind of really kind of start to expose America to rap. They're not quite mainstream America, but a lot of Americans.
Right,
Mhm.
right. And then so after you fell in love with Sugar Hill Gang, what were some of the other groups that you, or artists that you started to fall in love with?
So after the Sugar Hill Game, and I'm just going to try to create a timeline. The next group I started falling in love with was Friends, One Love.
Mhm.
I mean, they not only, to me, it was like now the rap game had a little bit more kind of like still a little disco, but I was starting to hear some funk, and I was hearing bass, and they were now dancing more. So I really did enjoy Houdini.
You know, Houdini too. Like, I love Houdini as well. Still love them. They they had that. People forget, like, they were really huge in their time, and they had some of the greatest songs that still live to this day. But I don't feel like they get their just due.
They don't.
Yeah, I don't think people, when they, a lot of times when they talk about the early stages of hip hop, they kind of breeze over Houdini, but they were a super group in during their time.
They were a super group, and they other rappers came from them
Hmm.
as well, because other rappers used to be their dancers.
Right.
Mhm.
And a lot of people tend to forget that that other upcoming East Coast rappers used to be their dancers and then used to open up for them. So they don't get their credit.
Mhm. Yeah, but they're definitely one of the greats. And I believe they are all still alive and still performing to this day.
Mm.
Yeah.
They're alive. Now Jaleel, I know he lives in Atlanta,
Mhm.
and I believe he does. I think he does like work in the studio and help other artists and help them create music. And I think he also works in anime as well, I believe.
Oh wow.
The other two, I'm not for certain what they are actually doing.
Oh okay. I could
But
when I saw that they were still performing. So, but so many artists are still on the circuit. Like those old
yeah, they are.
school, yeah, those old school uh concerts, they're like doing very well. And
That is true.
mhm.
Like this, the beginning of this year, or midway towards the year, I saw Slick Rick. I saw JJ Thad. They're still out there, sound the same. I saw the Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five. They're still out there.
Yeah, and that's one thing I love about you too. You will go to a show in a minute, man. Like it reminds me, like back in the day, I used to go to shows all the time, but you go to the shows now, and you know that is so cool. Like we're gonna get into some of the shows you've seen recently. You know what I mean? But yeah,
Okay.
but yeah, that's pretty cool. So okay, so um, now the '90s, right? The golden era. Most people with sense will tell you that's when some of the best music as far as hip hop genre was made. Who in your estimation, or give me some names of artists that you feel like really defined the '90s era when it comes to hip hop?
Oh wow. Well, you definitely have to say Dre, Snoop, Tupac. You have to say Biggie. You also the Wu Tang Clan.
Mm-hmm.
You also have to say LL.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's so many. You also have to say
Heavy
Heavy
D.
D.
Heavy D. I was gonna say, oh yeah,
What did you say, Shannon?
that's my man.
Yes, Heavy D. You have to say Big Daddy Kane,
Mm-hmm.
Queen Latifah, Yo Yo, because before her, and I tried to research this. I can't find any other solo female rapper that came out first from the West Coast besides Yo Yo.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to put her kind of on the map
Mm-hmm.
because she did, because before her, I knew of no other West Coast female rapper,
Yeah.
you know,
I'm,
from California.
I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, no, yeah, yo, yeah, you're right, yeah, and
Yes.
going
Oh,
back,
sorry.
going back in the Wayback Machine, when she came out, I mean, she came out hard. You know,
Exactly.
she obviously was produced by Ice Cube, and that first album was called "Stomping into the '90s," and it had the classic song "You Can't Play with My Yo Yo."
Right.
that's,
Right.
that's my joint. Yeah, that's a great song. My
Oh,
favorite little part. My favorite part in there is she goes, I keep a cat in my purse. I love it. That's one of the great songs of the '90s. That
But other classic rap group, of course. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to
no,
speak
go ahead.
over
No,
you.
you're good. Hmm.
But other rap artists from the 90s, you had Brand Nubian, Diggable Planets,
That's my group.
the Fugees.
mm-hmm.
I love, yes, Diggable Planets. And also you had it's I really, really, really enjoyed, and I kind of think this group was kind of looked over. Um, I'm trying to remember the name. Is the guy he died, Guru?
Oh, Gangstar. Yeah.
Gangstar.
Gang
They
one
were
of the greatest
excellent.
groups of all times. Yeah,
Exactly.
man. Don't let me start bumping some Gangstar right now. Okay, I love Gangstar. Yeah, like yeah, they didn't get their due really until way later. I mean,
Right.
like where they actually made some money and whatnot. Yeah, but no, they were always critically acclaimed, and yeah, they one of the great groups of all time. They, all their albums are like amazing. Yeah. Now, one group you didn't mention.
Outcast.
No, I love out. You didn't mention Outkast, but I love Outkast. But my favorite group of all time, you just didn't mention them.
Who is that?
Tribe Called Quest.
Oh shoot, yes, hands down. Tribe Called Quest. How can I forget that? Definitely, they contribute a whole lot.
Mhm.
Tribe Called Quest and De La Soul are like,
De La
yeah,
Soul
they changed the game in,
and
in
Missy Elliott.
yeah, in ways that people didn't realize. Like
Missy
they
Elliott is
really,
my
yeah. So yeah, Missy Elliott is dope. So let me ask this question though. I'm gonna put you on the spot. Who would you say is the greatest female rapper of all time? Any coast,
On the East
any
Coast?
coast.
Oh, in any coast. MC Light.
MC Light. Okay, I can't argue with that. Uh, I believe Lauryn Hill is the greatest female rapper of all time. People will use, oh, she didn't do as much. I'm like, wait a minute. She has the two Fugees albums. She has three of her own, if you count the double CD as two, and then and the album oh my god, Miseducation. There's enough
Okay.
to say that she's the greatest. Yeah, I know she don't show up on time. Okay. But I would say if you listen to the Mystery of Iniquity, it's hands down she's the greatest. Like, but
Okay.
MC Light, I've always say that she's right there. She's longevity and skill, and she really, I think she upped the game of the female MC in hip hop.
Of
Yeah.
course,
So
definitely.
maybe there wouldn't be a Lauryn Hill without MC Light. So you can look at it that way too. But yeah, but MC Light though, I mean, I can't argue with MC Light. MC Light is a gold standard. And what is she? Is she like sacrificing babies or something? Because if you've seen her lately, she looks better. She's like she looks way better than she's ever looked in her life. I mean, it wasn't like she was atrocious before, but like she looks wonderful. Like whatever she's doing, is she sacrificing something or is
He
she
is
eating
not
placenta?
sacrificing babies. Can't say stop it.
I'm like, wow, man. I mean, she's like, I wouldn't say that she was like, guys weren't like, oh, she's so hot back in the day.
Right.
But now the dudes are like, man, she's hot. So so age has been great for her, so for sure.
Which, yeah, it has been her and Queen Latifah.
Yeah, I would
Mhm.
say Queen Latifah. She looks better than she did when she was younger. So, but they both kind of had that tomboyish look too.
Right. That because back then, late 80s, early 90s, you're trying to be a female MC. They were going by the guys' macho mentality. You couldn't be a Little Kim or Foxy
Right.
Brown back then and try to be a MC because no one was going to really try to take you seriously in the late 80s or early 90s.
No, that definitely shifted the way that female MCs got down and the way that they were seen. To me, my third favorite female artist is Ladybug Mecca from Digable Planet.
Oh,
She
yeah. Yes.
is ridiculous. And I think she's
Yes.
overlooked because they only did like two albums, but she's done a lot of stuff since then on her own. But she is so sick with it lyrically.
Yeah.
And if you go back and listen to those Digable Planet albums, and because the guys are great, but she
They
like
are.
overshine. Like it's very similar to the dynamic with the Fugees, where Lauryn Hill kind of overshadowed the fellas in the group, the two guys in the group.
Right.
But I would say Digable Planets, the guys were way better than the guys. I'm talking about lyrically in the Fugees,
Oh, most
You know,
definitely. And I feel, without Diggable Planets, it wouldn't have been any Fugees because, and if the Diggable Planets wouldn't have broken up, they would have really been the ones that would have been considered the great ones instead of the Fugees.
I definitely agree. And they're back together. They're touring back together. But you know what's so crazy to me though is you see these acts that were around when we were coming up, and they're all gray beard and they looking like mothers
Right.
and grandmothers, and it just makes you feel old. You see, like I saw them performing the Diggable Planets.
Uh-huh.
They look like kind of geriatric a little bit, and they were, and I'm just like, oh my god, y'all making me feel old. I mean, they look good for old, for I mean, yeah, for old people. They look good. I didn't mean that way, but it just was so funny though to see them, and it's like, dang. I mean, we're probably around the same age. It's like, oh God,
Right.
do I look that old when I'm out there in the streets? you know. No, but it is funny. Can you remember the first concert you went to?
The first concert I went to, it wasn't a rap. It was in seventh grade. My uncle Michael took me when I was in seventh grade, and it was at Universal. At Universal, and it was Cameo, and the opening performance was Atlantic Star.
Uh-huh. Oh wow! And you said you were how old?
I was in seventh grade, so that had to be like 80, 87, I think.
Wow! Wow!
Yes.
I've said this on this show before, or maybe it could have been an after show. The first show I went to, it was MC Hammer, and uh, you know what? I don't care what you say, man. He puts on a great show.
I was like,
No, I like MC Hammer because
yeah.
I've always liked him, and I don't know why they used to rag on him because he had that funk party music, that James Brown vibe. All the family could get on the dance floor and have a good time.
Mm.
So I don't know why people used to hate on his music.
Yeah, but back in hip hop, it was kind of like this thing where the more successful you were, the more people came at you. Whereas it seems like it's flip flop now. It's like now your weight is based on your success. So, because it was almost like the gold artists were the real artists and the platinum artists were the sellouts or whatever, in a way. So
Yeah,
so that's the kind of what was going on. Do you remember Shannon, your first concert?
Related to hip hop?
Or just in general?
Well, I mean, my first concert, probably yes, but my first hip hop concert was Twista.
Twista, really?
Oh wow.
Twista. Okay. All right. Wow. I've never seen Twista live before. Yeah. So interesting. All right. So now when we start talking about like the greatest MCs that ever existed, there's a lot of debate on who it is or whatever. I'm gonna just throw out who I think the greatest MC is, and it's Rakim. He is the greatest rapper of all time because to me, he's like, if you have a timeline of hip hop music, seeing was concerned, like the big bang or whatever you want to call it in hip hop was when he came out, because there was rap before him. To someone who wasn't there, how important his music is. His lyric, when you go back and listen to it now, it's like he was spitting this like no one was spitting like him before him. They had great MCs like him, traveling magnificent speeds across the universe. Like people were like, what the hell is he talking about? So that's me. Who are some of your favorite MCs of all time lyrically?
Well, you're actually right about Rakim. He is to me also my favorite MC of all times. And you're also right about before Rakim, yeah, you had good rappers like Melly Mel, and you had let me see, you had Kumo D, because he came before Rakim as well. You had a lot of good rappers that were before him. However, it wasn't until Rakim came along, because Rakim had this melodic flow and he was lyrical, and he was not only melodic, lyrical, he was educating you with this kind of street uh melodic groove behind it. And he was just cool about it, and he wasn't out there, because remember how the early rappers used to kind of dress crazy.
Yeah.
He came out like a cool dude, laid back, sweatsuit, tennis shoes,
Gold chains and all of that. Yeah.
that gold chain. He even kind of came with a new, like he kind of entered updated b-boy look.
Right.
That's what I can say he came out with. So he did change the game, and his flow made all other rappers that preceded him and after him, if they were going to try to come out with something, they now had to kind of step their game up. It couldn't be no more of this like little elementary rhyming rap. It couldn't be bubblegum.
If you want just I mean, there's so many representations of his skill, but like kind of one of his early ones, I Ain't No Joke. Like, just, you know, when you listen to the lyric, I mean, the beat is dope, of course, but lyrically, it's just, you know, man, you get goosebumps listening to Rakim. So yeah, he's one of the definitely. I think he is the greatest in my estimation.
Oh yes.
Now, my number two, I would say, is KRS-One. And they are the two most quoted MCs of all time. KRS-One, you know, I mean, his impact on hip hop music is so vast. You know what he was able to do with, you know, he took the diss song to the next level. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? And he, you know, he's another one of those who taught as well as you know, rhyme.
I would say he's probably part of my part. KRS-One would be probably in my number 5 or top 10, possibly. Yeah, he is. I would probably say, yeah, he would probably be number 2 or 3 for me. I really love his rhyme. I think he's dope. I saw KRS-One probably about 4-5 years ago, I believe it was, and he still got it.
Yeah.
He still got it.
Yeah, I remember he said something like every year he makes diss songs for all the rappers in the top 10 just in case they want to start something. So
I did not know that.
Yeah, every year he just sees who the top 10 are and he has it ready, locked and loaded. So he is the old school b-boy, just way about him even till to this day, and they call him the teacher. So now one thing that a rapper like LL Cool J was able to do was he had this thing, and I think Tupac probably took it to even another level. This thing where the ladies like him,
Ladies love Jane,
right? Fellas like him too. He kind of had that that, you know, that thing. I don't know what you want to call it, because he was like I think he was the first one to do the hip hop love songs, right? With I Need Love.
Yes, he was. First one. I Need Love.
And so, like, what do you think about like someone like LL Cool J, who kind of, you know, had that thing, you know, that the ladies like him, and also, you know, he had the fellas respect too.
And it's good you brought that. This is a good question, because now that I'm kind of thinking about it, and I think about the early stages of rap, you either had where, oh, only the guys like this particular rapper and the girls like this particular rapper. But LL did receive love from everyone. And I think one, because he had that one love song. And the girls really felt him. So anything else that he came out with, they just liked it. Plus, he was showing his chest and his muscles. So he brought. I think he was really the first rapper to bring in sex appeal.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Well, because he brought in that sex appeal, you had, and then he was young too, because he started at 16,
Yeah,
17.
baby, yeah.
So he was the youngest rapper, and our generation coming up into the late like 80s and 90s up on rap, especially as a young, young teenager, we were gravitating to him because he was on also the covers. You got to think they had magazines back then. He was on the cover of the teen magazine. So of course, young women were going to gravitate to him.
The song "I'm That Type of Guy."
Yes.
The video, I still remember that video. I haven't seen it in a long time, but have you ever that song, Shannon? "I'm That Type of Guy." It's such a funny video where the whole video, he's like this cat burglar and he's breaking into this house and he's doing all this stuff to break into this house. And at the end of the video, he finally gets to the vault. And then you're thinking he's about to get some diamonds and jewelry or whatever. He opens up the vault, and in the vault is like a bunch of women. Like, and that's it's like, oh, that's what he was breaking in for, right? To get the vault. So yeah, it's a good, but it's funny when you listen to the lyrics of the song, it's very a douchebaggy song.
It is.
It's so douchebaggy. It's like, that kind of talk could get your ass whipped. LL. So, hey Dre. Yeah. So, but no, it was definitely he had that Jingling Baby and just
Around the way, girl.
I want a girl with extensions in hair, bamboo earrings, at least 2 pair. Yeah, all of that stuff. Still remember it like it was yesterday. So
yeah, because he made like Tupac, I believe, really followed his pattern where he made songs for the women and the men. He was like really the first one.
Yeah, yeah, and Tupac, he really like did it on another level where it's hard to be that guy that the chicks love and the fellas love too, because we we don't like those guys generally. It's like, oh man, this clown, look at this fool with his shirt off. You know what I'm saying? Like you like this? You be like talking to your woman. You like this? This really is what you like, But
right.
But Tupac was able to do it because you couldn't not respect Tupac, as a dude. So he was like, he just had that, he was smart, man. Because his first album didn't really tap into that. But it was even though it was a great record, but that second one, Strictly for My N-Words, that one, because you had the great song I Get Around, which is, that's the joint right there,
That, yeah, of all times.
And also Keep Your Head Up too was on that same joint. So you had the two things there. But one thing that was great about the 90s is you had a lot of positive hip hop in the early part of the 90s.
Yeah,
you did.
Yeah, so let's kind of talk about some of that. Of course, we mentioned KRS One, Boogie Down Productions. They obviously but then you had Public Enemy
And the X-Clan.
Jungle Brothers, yes. So let's kind of go there. Chuck D, underrated. I think he's underrated as an MC. And the movement that they had going on early on, especially it kind of crystallized with Fight the Power, which was like the anthem, but
right.
I always say in my my second favorite hip hop album all the time is It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back. And that is just like, that album is so good and it meant so much at the time. And Black Steel in the Hour of Chaos, one of the great rap songs of all time. Great video. I mean, their music videos was before its time, and just what they were able to do, was amazing. What's your take on Public Enemy?
Public Enemy, they were something that was, I felt that was really needed in the late 80s and early 90s. I Because it was coming a point to where I guess you could say, and I hate to say this, but there it seems like it's always this period where in Black culture where we start having another awakening.
Mm,
And they were part of that whole kind of like awakening era, because you got to think, they came out around the time of when School Days came out. It's the Cosby Show,
mhm,
A Different World. Black colleges are being pumped up more now through A Different World. You have a lot of young Black youth looking at that. Now you have Public Enemy coming out. Rap music is becoming more popular now, and that's on the scene. Now you have Public Enemy. It's not only rapping about, the fun times, good times. It's not elementary rap, it's political rap.
yeah.
And it had a good political meaning behind it. And people would say, oh, well, they're just talking about Black people. But when you really listen to their music, hey, they bringing in everybody, because they're talking, when they say fight the powers that be,
Mhm.
that's for everybody.
Right,
That's not excluding anyone.
right, right. Yeah, and that was part of their message is that man, we all got this thing, crushing on top of us.
Yeah.
So yeah, they were definitely something, and it meant a lot to me coming up, just growing up. They definitely were a huge influence on myself. So and I know I wasn't the only one. So it was tons of people that were that they were a big influence to, and to this day, Chuck D still doing his thing, and he's doing in a lot of different ways. He is putting his gifts out there into the world. So no, that's pretty good. And X Clan, a lot of people don't remember X Clan.
Yeah.
X Clan, they were like next level, man, with it, man.
Right. Van Glorious.
Yeah, with the keys. Like, yeah, a couple of their members are dead.
I know one.
Professor X, and their DJ, Sugar Shaft. He died. He
Oh.
died in a weird thing with the hospital. Well, he checked in the hospital and then somehow died or something like that. But Brother Jay, the main rapper, is still around, and he's still in the community and stuff. So yeah. But X Clan, they were a great group that unfortunately people don't remember. But you know,
I
and
don't. I'm people.
And
oh yeah, well,
oh,
one of their great songs, "Funkin' Lessons," "Heed the Word of a Brother," and then they had this song called "Fire and Ice" on their second album, which is a classic. You know, so great stuff. Now, um, the '90s is also known for the Diddyfication of hip hop. You know, like Diddy obviously he helped bring us Notorious B.I.G., Biggie Smalls, right?
Yeah.
He
correct.
also brought in the whole hater thing and the style and all of that kind of stuff. So on some levels, like you can't take away what he was able to accomplish and what he's still accomplishing. But then
Hmm.
also he's left shrapnel around too. I'm not. So what's your take on Diddy?
Wow. Okay. With Diddy, I would have to. It's kind of all over the place with him. Yes, he did bring us good artists like Craig Mack, which he was his first artist that was on Bad Boy
Right.
Entertainment.
Mhm.
He was the man, and then came the rest of them. So he did give us Craig Mack, gave us Biggie, Lil Kim, Mary. He gave us some good
A lot.
artists, but at the same time, he gave us a lot of good artists. And he gave us Faith Evans, which I love. However, he couldn't keep his team together for
Right.
for whatever reason, because it seems like he's only focuses on like the main ones, and like and then the other really great artists too, but they may not be number one. They may be number two or three, but they're still excellent in their own way. He loses them and he loses sight. And I think Diddy, he doesn't really, because he got his hands here and there. He didn't really know how to manage his people well, and some of them just left. And then another reason, they say Diddy don't pay. Don't pay his artists.
And you notice Jesus loves Diddy. I'm gonna tell you why. Because it seems like his artists, after dealing with him, they go right to the Lord. So, like, I mean,
that's true.
Yeah, like how many of them all of a sudden become like hardcore in the church after dealing with Diddy?
Because Loon is a Muslim,
right?
He's a Muslim, and he goes around talking about his life. And then Craig Mack, he was part of some cult before he died. They said he was part of some cult down south, I think in South Carolina.
Right.
And then Mace is a minister.
Right. So yeah, like I guess it's you mess with Diddy and then you go to Jesus. It's like the next step, right? So I mean, man, that's something else. Yeah. I love D in the chat room says because he was trying to be all in the videos. quoting Suge Knight.
Yes, from that 1990, I think 5 Source Awards. I saw that.
Yeah. Oh man, that's so infamous even today. Yeah.
Yes.
So okay, so we talked about Diddy. Now you mentioned Outkast. Now, do we have any people here from the South? No, I don't think so. No one that claims the South. Okay, cool. So we can talk about them. The South started out so great.
They did.
With Ghetto Boys, right? They're the South.
Yes, Ghetto Boys.
Outkast, Goody.
No, UGK before Outkast.
UGK, Outkast, Goody Mob. T.I.'s, really good. And then Ludacris. And the South was really popping. And I mean, but then they just like, I don't know what happened. Like they just got kind of silly with it. And they really kind of control the narrative of hip hop, even to today.
Yeah, right now.
Even rappers that are from the East and West, they want to sound like they're from the South. So what's your take on the early part of Southern hip hop and now?
The early part of Southern hip hop, I really loved it because it was different. I felt that they were taking from the West Coast, putting a little Southern flavor on it with some funk in it as well. And it sounded really good. And they were still, to me, you had a lot of lyrical Southern rappers. And then I want to say when 2000 and, oh boy, maybe I want to say 2010, I think, possibly, or 11. It just seems like rap just started changing and it just started sounding, I can honestly say, really within the past 5-6 years. To me personally, rap from the South doesn't sound as good as it used to because you have all these mumble rappers that are not pronouncing words, not enunciating. It's like they want to sound dumb. And for lack of a better word, and I hate to say this, but they want to sound like a broken down, uneducated slave that just came from the plantation. And it's like our ancestors who were in slavery, they didn't even want to talk like that. But that's all the English that they knew, and they were trying to better themselves, but they couldn't. But they didn't want to probably sound the way they did, but they had no choice. But they were still trying to better themselves. And it's like now you have these Southern rappers now that that don't care about how they sound, how they appear in public. It's all about now about their likes, how many likes they're getting on Instagram, Facebook, how many followers they have. Is it making them money? That's what it seems like. And I just don't want to say only Southern rappers, but it's now what the Southern rappers have did now, like Kente said, East Coast, West Coast are following that mold, like Migos. Everybody want to be like the Migos now. And granted, I like some of the Migos songs as far as like they have some good beats, but 9 times out of 10, I don't even know what they're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is so funny that we got to this part of the discussion because my good friend Ryan, who's in the chat room, me and him, he's a younger guy. He raps as well, and we always argue about that. And he tries to say, he said in his chat room that the hibbity hop, he tries to compare that to mumble rap, and it's not even the same, and I see Aaron in the chat room as well. I don't think it's the same at all. I think it's almost like saying when a baby is first born and you try to use whatever was going on with the baby as some sort of like, oh well you were boo-booing on yourself. Like, well, I was a baby.
Yeah.
Right. I was boo-booing on myself. It was because I was a baby. But now I went to the pull-ups and now I can wear big boy underwear, so I'm supposed to go back to the boo-boo in the diapers, or maybe right before I'm about to go. I knew he was coming in. So I feel like
what's up?
So we're going to definitely get in a good debate here because Ryan, that's something we go back and forth with. So just kind of, you want to do a quick chat room shout out, Shannon, before we do that?
Yep. Shout out to Jen and Dean and Aaron and Monica. And then we've had a few that have stepped out of the room. I think Dre and the other Aaron was here earlier.
Yes. So just to reset, the conversation is my guest, Miss Shik herself, Malaika Shik. She is doing a series on when she fell in love with hip hop, and we're talking about that as well. And then we're going to have a conversation too on etiquette as well, which I've been doing on the show as well. So there is another Aaron, actually, Aaron Riggs.
Yeah, the only one.
So, but we like Mr. Wake Up better. So okay, so 2000s come, right? And hip hop, I think early 2000s hip hop was still in a good space. You still had some really good MCs that were doing their thing, and you had some guys come up. Where do you feel like hip hop kind of took a left turn?
You're asking me, or
no, you
just came on right?
You.
Oh, okay. I think in the 2000s, or just in general.
Or you know what, you can do it in general, but yeah.
Well, if you want to take it back, I really think that hip hop took a left turn when they really started just not respecting Black women. So that would be in the 90s because it ain't no fun if the homies can't have none. Now, I do have to say this, even though I like that song, but what does that mean? You get what I'm saying? We know what it means, but what does it mean when you want to come out with a song like that?
And can I say that it is fun if the homies don't have none? So, can I put that out there? I can have fun without the homies getting some too. Okay. I hate
I
that too because that beat is so dope, and like the hook, grandmas be singing. It ain't no fun. Like, oh man, grandma, don't sing that. you know, but yeah, no,
I mean, you have a lot of old school rappers from the 90s now
Mhm.
saying, like, the new rappers, they're whack, they're this and that. They should, they make rap sound horrible. Actually, I remember when Ice-T said, and I don't exactly remember when Soldier Boy came out, but that's when they were saying when Soldier Boy came out, everyone was saying, oh, he's messing up rap. And I want to say that was what, 2008 maybe or
I think it was
9 when he
before that.
came.
I think Soldier before that.
and
Yeah.
and so they want to blame rap being horrible now, but rap to me took a left
Oh
because
06.
in the 90s with, and like I said, even though it was a lot of rap that did downplay calling women bitches and hoes,
Mhm.
at the same time we would listen to it. That was a left turn. Now the next level of badness is in rap, I feel, is this mumbleness. You're not pronouncing words, you're not enunciating. Your music don't even have a message. And I think Diddy did that, was part of that as well. Like he was with the Cristal and the Moet and glorifying the I call it like living the high life rap.
Right.
And now just every song or every rap video you see right now, it's not original. It's all about, oh, they with their boys, they're in the street, they're in the club, they're drinking, it's girls twerking in bikinis by the pool in the room. It's all the same.
You, you,
It,
one thing I noticed too is even when they have women in the videos, and like the women are accessories more so than they're like
correct.
together. So it's like almost like your boys though, you're hugging your homeboys, but then the women are
Right.
like just there for something to do, And I think unfortunately it's kind of scary though that like younger people see it and then they, that's kind of what they pick up on. And a lot of us, some of us had to grow up to realize, how bad it is. And I'm gonna say this real quick. There was a woman named C. Dolores Tucker who, like, when I was younger, I used to think she was like the enemy, right? And as I got
Mm-hmm.
older, I realized that woman, man, we should have listened to her because she fought against decency in music, and she took on a lot of this, and she was right. She was 100% right, and she deserves to be true. We should treat her like the queen that she was. She's dead now, but it's a shame though. Like now, when I look back and listen to what she was saying, that woman was 100% right in what she was saying. So, but if you get a chance, just look up C. Dolores Tucker.
Yeah, I wrote her name down. I'll look her up. And if I may, I just want to say this really
Mm-hmm.
quick. One thing I can say about the 90s and how it made a shift from positive to negative, at least in the 90s, we may have the gangster rappers disrespecting women, but you still had the positive rap and you had the party rap as well. So we had a choice. No one sounded the same. You had different levels of rap, but nowadays you have pretty much rap all sounds the same. You only have a few that are original and don't sound the same, like the Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole, Lupe Fiasco. But that's only a handful. When in the 90s you had so much. And then I do want to, one last thing, sorry. Another reason why, you know, for maybe it's positive to some people or negative, but you got to probably thank Uncle Luke for this. He he was the one who fought in, I think,
Right.
1991 or 92. He was the one who fought to be able to say whatever you want to say in your rap music without being arrested
Yeah.
or fined.
Yeah. He is the grandfather or the godfather or whatever you want to call it of it. So, for better or for worse. Yeah. That was not a question. Sorry. Is it always been like that? Um, oh, it's always been like that. Oh, okay. All right, my bad. I read that wrong. It was a statement. Okay. Um, so um, for those who want to check out your series, what can they expect coming from it?
Well, coming from it, they're going to, for, I'm hoping for the most part, I'm giving someone some type of educational background on the rap timeline. And of course, I can't go over everything in rap, but I'm just going over main things that have occurred from 1970 to 2004. That's where I'll be ending the series in the year 2004, and just picking out pivotal moments in rap when certain artists came out, and I may go back down memory lane and talk about how that rapper made me feel, what I remember about the music and the song, and how it was during that time when that artist came out. So I just want them to get some little insight on the historical timeline of rap.
Yeah, and that is so awesome because I'm a big hip hop fan, and you know, that was what I grew up on, and for better or for worse, I still have a appreciation for it. And I will tell you,
Right.
one of the great moments in hip hop history was when the Black Eyed Peas performed at the Super Bowl. And the reason why I say that is, if you're from here, you probably saw them too when they were underground group, right, around LA.
I remember when they were
Right?
underground and how they changed.
Yeah, and because I believe they might have been at WLCAC back then, because they were a local hood group. A lot of people don't know that,
Yeah.
and they would so they were like a real local group before they hit it really big, and before they added Fergie to the group, they were this really great group. I mean, not saying they didn't do anything good after that, but that was definitely a big change. Um, but to see this group that you saw locally perform, and they're from here, and they performed at halftime at the Super Bowl, and they killed it. That was a
Hmm.
great moment, I thought, in the hip hop history, that I don't know if people give it enough credit, but I think they're the only rap group to be the main group at a halftime show. I don't think no other group has done that, or rapper. So
Oh,
kudos to them. And I often think, like, what rapper or rap group could could do that, like would have that kind of gravitas. I would say what Jay-Z possibly,
Jay-Z, of course.
uh,
Uh,
Eminem probably.
yeah, they would say Eminem, but I don't count
Right,
him.
right. I don't know, like, but it's very few. Outkast, when they were like in the Hey Ya,
Yeah,
with Speaker Box, they could have done it,
yeah, they could have done it definitely.
so and so, and they need to make another album. What's wrong with them?
Hello. I
Yeah,
know.
that's
I
something.
know.
All right, so all right, and we're going to talk about etiquette now, not etiquette in hip hop. We because some people saw it and goes, well, we're talking about hip hop etiquette. We probably should, but no, we're not doing that. Um, uh, and so the reason why we're bringing this up is, as we said in the beginning of it, you used to teach etiquette, right? And what was,
Correct.
just kind of tell us why you decided to do that.
Well, I wanted to start a business. I didn't know what I wanted to do, so I was thinking about it. And at that uh, time, I was living in San Bernardino,
Mm-hmm.
California, and I was just thinking and thinking, what could I do? Then finally, I started looking at the young teenagers that I was interacting with or that I would come into, and I was like, wow. And I don't want to just say young teenagers, I don't want to blame it on them, but just people at work as well, my coworkers, I was like, people are really rude. They just lost all sense of manners. It seems like if you're polite, you're considered a punk, you're soft, a pushover. And I just saw that it was really lacking. And then as more and more, as I'm out in San Bernardino, I'm going to public places, whether it's at the mall, restaurant, I was getting tired of people like bump into you and they don't say excuse me. And then they look at you like you're crazy.
Yep.
And it was just those little bitty things I saw. And then I was looking at my friends' kids sitting at the dinner table, don't have sense enough to know not to eat with your talk with your mouth full. Just simple things like that I saw that were going by the wayside. And these were people, and I'll say this, these were my friends that have kids who they have money. They're not poor by no means. And your kids have no etiquette. And then I'm thinking about my grandmother, how she grew up poor, her and her sisters. My parents grew up poor, but yet they knew the basic etiquette and taught me and my sisters. So I was like, I don't know where it went, but etiquette had went by to the wayside. So I felt this is where I could come in. And then I started trying to get into the churches, the school district, but unfortunately, I didn't have luck there. So I had one-on-one sessions at libraries and with the Girl Scouts and group homes for girls.
Mm. Now, what were some of the glaring things that you saw when you started to work with these young people?
For one, I saw that they didn't even know how to properly introduce themselves. This is so basic. This is the problem, not even with the youth, but with adults.
Yep.
So when you first meet someone, and if you're sitting down and they come into your room, office, whatever, and they say, "Hi, I'm Mr. Greg," you're supposed to stand up and shake their hand and say, "Hi, I'm Miss Smith. Nice to meet you." They didn't know something simple as that. So just a simple introduction.
Right. Something that is big in my family is, especially with kids, is when you come into a room and there's adults, that you greet them. You greet everyone. You don't just come in there with your attitude and you're on your phone or doing whatever. You actually come and greet everybody. And that's something that I don't see a lot of these days either.
It's a lost art.
Yeah.
It is. So greeting was number one. And number two, they don't know how to dress for certain occasions. A lot of young girls think that wearing fitting clothes is dressy. How can I say it? Wearing fitting, revealing clothes to them they feel is dressing up. But no, that's club gear, I should say. That's the only way I can say it. They feel that club gear is dressing up for work. No, you don't wear your club gear at work.
Right.
So I had to teach in the group home, and it's really sad because that's where they need it the most, the girls. No one is teaching them how to dress for success or how to dress as a lady on a daily basis. So it was a battle teaching them how to dress.
Yeah, that's interesting that you say that about the not dressing like you're going to the club when you're at work. You often hear that same thing being applied to when you go to church as well. People will dress like they're going to the club when they go to church, which is definitely not church etiquette as well. I mean, it's starting to become church etiquette, or it is going that way. But can you kind of speak to why? Because a lot of times, people say, "Well, I can do whatever I want. I'm a this and that." But can you speak to why that's not a good idea to dress like that going to your job or church to see Jesus?
Okay, so when you go to work, there is a dress code. Believe it or not, there is a dress code whether you wear a uniform or not. Let's say you're not wearing a uniform. your job has guidelines not only to protect themselves but to protect you. So you should, if you're working in a business environment where it's business casual, let's say, business casual means wearing loafers, like flats. You can wear heels, but they should not be over 2 inches. You can't, and you wear slacks. You can wear nice blouses, but you shouldn't be showing your cleavage. It shouldn't be so low cut. You could wear nice skirts, but they shouldn't be no more than uh, 2 or 3, no more than 3 inches above your knees. Okay, and you can wear makeup, but you shouldn't be wearing so much makeup where you're going out to the club. You could wear earrings, but you shouldn't have these big old gigantic hoops and in your ears or just loud earrings. A lot of times people judge you on how you present yourself, unfortunately. And let's just say, okay, that's, you feel like going to work in your leggings and your little half tube top and 3 inch stiletto heels because that's you and that's how you are. But you should never go to work like that because, one, people are going to not take you seriously. They won't see you as being a professional. They're going to, and if it's a man, he's going to think you're probably easy and is going to probably sexually harass you. Not to say he has the right to do that based upon how you're dressed, but unfortunately, men, when they see more of your body, they will start coming at you with those big goo eyes, unfortunately, or trying to make passes at you. And then you're going to have other women in the office. They're going to start spreading rumors or talking about you because now they're feeling that you are, you're coming to work dressed slutty.
Right, right.
And you could also lose your job.
Yeah.
I've known people who have gotten written up on the verge of almost losing their job because they would not adhere to the dress code.
Right. Um, Let me ask Shannon this question because Shannon is a good young lady. She was raised right. Uh, what were some things that your mother talked to you about proper etiquette? How to present yourself and all that.
Well, my mother didn't necessarily teach me a whole lot of etiquette. I mean, there were certain things that were just customary in our home, not to talk with your mouth full. Um, and a lot of times I laugh because I see people doing it, and I'm like, I do not need to see the inside of your mouth or what you're digesting. It's disgusting. And that's kind of stuck with me to this day. So I kind of laugh, thinking of sitting around the table and we'd be like, "Can you finish chewing first before you continue this conversation?" Um, Always, what you said earlier about addressing people when you come into a room, um, regardless of where it's at. I still do that to this day. I mean, and even if it's as simple as just saying hello to everyone, you ain't got to stop and ask how the kids is, but at least
Right.
it's that they're present, and you've walked into the space that they were there already. And open the door for people. A lot of times people are like, I got it, I got it. I hold the door. We were taught that when we were younger. Get the door for me, and you hold it and let people walk through it. You don't open it and then you walk through it and then hope they catch it on the way in.
Right.
So those are probably the few. I mean, thank you, please, basics, and
Right.
cover your mouth. I mean, people don't think that's etiquette, but yeah, cover your mouth when you cough. Like, but my biggest pet peeve, and I'm sure you're going to talk about this, is people who do not RSVP. My
Yes.
biggest
Yes.
pet peeve to date. I used to be a wedding planner's assistant when I lived in Dallas, and I used to have, and all of my friends that have gotten married put me in charge of their wedding list. So when their invitations come back or their RSVPs come back, I'm the one that tells people, you did not RSVP, so you cannot come. to
Right.
reception. I don't have a problem telling people no. Sorry, you are not. You can come to the wedding because we don't actually have to pay for the count, the people that are there. But you will not come and get a plate at this reception. I guarantee you that. I will
Right.
take these pills off, put my bridesmaid duty on hold, and become a security guard real quick.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
over it.
I don't like non RSVP people. Yeah.
People don't understand. Like, what was so urgent or what was so more important that you just thought that you couldn't RSVP, and then you're gonna bring you and your 50, 11 kids and
Right.
you didn't RSVP?
Right. That's ridiculous. Yeah.
Listen.
You know another thing I don't like is when you go to a restaurant and they don't acknowledge you when you come in. Like especially one of the ones that you like kind of wait before they seat you.
But that's anywhere,
And
okay? The grocery store, when you shopping.
Nail shop.
Like anytime I'm spending my money and you don't acknowledge me, I'm about to walk right back out.
yeah, it's like you walk in and then they're just and sometimes they'll be sitting there just looking at you, be like, I'm like, really? Like, like if I'm owning a restaurant, I want if when somebody walked in there, they would need to be feel welcome,
Yep.
and because that you starting it off bad, what I
Yep.
mean? And yeah, it's like it's so much stuff. Like it's funny when you look at old clips of the way society was at one point when it comes to customer service. Um, it seemed like it seemed like it was understood more,
Mm,
and I'm not sitting here saying everything was it was just 100% great, but it just seemed like they customer service was a bigger deal back in the day, and it seems like now customer service is like it's just like we're gonna herd you in like cattle and then herd you out, you know. Um, uh,
Right.
and another thing I don't like too, I don't know if this is etiquette or whatever, but we'll say business etiquette is I'm not tipping before I've had the service.
well,
Like I don't like that at all because I don't know if it's gonna be whack.
and everybody doesn't deserve tips. Like
Right,
the culture of what tipping was for waiters and waitresses who weren't getting minimum wage. Now everybody got a tip jar at their counter, and I'm like, yo, why? What you need a tip for?
right.
You
Mm-hmm.
don't. Cut
Everybody,
that out.
everybody wants a dang tip. Yeah, it's ridiculous. And then they want it for not doing anything though. That's the crazy thing.
That
And,
part.
that's the thing that it drives me nuts. But I don't like to tip before I had the service. I am, I will tip, but not before the service. Let me see what the service is going to be before, I'm a shell out that money.
Yep.
But that's a whole other subject. Um, Another thing is let's talk about um date etiquette.
Okay.
Okay, so and we're gonna be equal opportunity. We'll talk about the men's as well as the ladies, but
The men.
talk about some dating etiquette you've experienced of the negative from guys. Uh-huh.
Okay. Oh, you have something else
No,
to
no, no.
say?
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. So one thing I don't like when I'm on a date is well, first let me just say this. When I meet someone and we exchange numbers, I like to talk to a guy over the phone for about a good solid week or two just to see if I want to see where you're at over the phone, if you have a good head on your shoulders. I'm trying to figure out if you're a weirdo, basically, and if I should actually meet up with you somewhere so you could have the chance to go out on a date with me.
Right.
So let's say you pass the test and we go out on a date. What I don't like about I guess, well, of course, I know they say a guy should open a door for you. He should pull the chair out for you and push you in, whatever. That's fine. That I don't care about, to be honest. I don't really care about that. What I care about is a tone. And I've come to find out that my own personal experience, that men that I've dated, I don't know you from anywhere. I'm trying to get to know you, but they all tend to have this kind of angry tone. And you could be like, say, for we're talking about something, we're getting along well, and then all of a sudden I may disagree with what you're saying. I haven't raised my voice. I'm just being opinionated like you were. I listened to what you said. Now it's my turn. But because you don't like it, now the tone changes. And now you're trying to talk to me like I'm a child.
Yeah.
And I think that's and you know, I've had to call guys out on that. I really had, because this one guy in particular, he always, like, we would go out, and the first time he said it, I kind of let it pass. And we were talking about something, and I just made a comment, oh, I hate that, how that looks. And he was like, hate? Why would you say hate? You shouldn't say the word hate. And sometimes you just let things pass. I let it go. We go out 2 days later. He says it again when I was talking about, we were at dinner and I said I hated something, I don't know. And then his tone changed again, like he got mad. And I had to call him out on it and how I did it. And he couldn't say anything else. And he stopped saying this to me. I said, hate is a good thing. It's always good to have hate, because if we didn't hate anything, especially us Black folks, we would still be enslaved today. And so he shut up and let it go.
That's a good one.
He let it go. But guys, what I've experienced more than anything, they think that they could talk down to me. And I don't know, is it because they're used to talking to women in a demeaning way, and they don't correct their behavior? Is it because I'm short? You know, and some people think that, you know, you're short, you know, she's not a tall woman. I don't feel threatened by her. You know, she doesn't seem to have a threatening attitude. So sometimes people tend to think they could come off a certain way. And then another thing that I'm finding as I've gotten older, and it's so weird, men are now trying to ask for sex right off the back. As I've gotten older, you would think that they're older. You would assume they're older. They would be more mature, be more patient about progressing to that stage. But no.
No, you got to go right. That's what they're saying, is you got to go right for it. I mean, that's what I've read somewhere on the internet.
Oh, really?
No, I feel what you're saying. You're really trying to get to know somebody, and they, you know, this guy is like, he's trying to get to know your drugs. So that's right.
And it always seemed, and I could honestly say, what, this is 2019. So since 2013, since I've been, you know, I guess you could say actively dating, so far in my experience, and I'm just speaking for myself, it seems like that third date, they're just trying to, like, okay, sex time. Hold up. No.
Okay, there is an unwritten rule. There's an unwritten rule that you have to have sex by the third date, or she's really interested in you.
What?
That is an unwritten rule. And that's a rule that a lot of guys live by. And we've had people in our chat room who are women. I won't say their names. They're not here tonight. But who said if he ain't trying it by the second date, he might be gay or something. There are a lot of women who do believe that if he's not trying, then they get friend zoned too. So I mean, you know, sometimes you got to stick your hand in the cookie jar, if not to get it slapped away.
What?
Right.
So
Well, they're not even trying to do that. They're just trying to be like full blown. I'm like, no.
so not even putting their hand in the cookie jar. They're just trying to steal all the cookies.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. And in this day and age with HIV and AIDS, and now they say chlamydia is back and gonorrhea, it's too much going on. And people, no, I mean, I love myself, number one. And at this point in my life, I'm not even tonguing anybody without an HIV test
Mm.
because it's just too much going on.
No, that's probably a good idea. Or they need to have like tongue condom. What's up, Nazim is in the room as well as Boogie.
No, and I don't mean to sound like a prude,
Right.
but it's just too much going on, and I feel a lot of these men. Okay, it's like, and I won't, I could, like I said, I can only speak from a woman's perspective. I'm sure it's maybe women out there being the aggressor toward the man, and the man is like, hold up. But I feel that, oh, and another thing that's lacking,
Mm-hmm.
and this is where I stop dealing with the guy, your conversation. Have some content to it. A lot of times, and I'm not saying I'm this intellect of I have all the answers to everything, and I know everything, and you don't know anything, but a lot of these men don't have good conversation
at all.
Okay.
at
Give me an example because I've never dated a guy. So give me an example of a bad conversation during the date.
Okay, so I could be talking about asking him like what type of work he does, and he may start telling me, but then he gets very vague. Then I'll start trying to then of course I'll talk about my work, what I do. I'll try to ask about his upbringing, what school he went to, college, whatever, and it's like he's annoyed in a way. How can I say it? You could tell that they don't want to talk about that. They don't want to bring up those questions. I mean, answer those questions, but I'm trying to find out information about you. And
Those are floaters. Those are what I call floaters.
What do you mean?
They're shallow. They're not what they want right now is not to go deep with you. They either want to hit it and quit it. They want a friend with benefits, or as my previous boss just said, a F buddy. And those things require them to dig deeper. They have room for them to evaluate who they are, and they're not really trying to feel that right now. Now, what they're trying to feel is you. So, can we skip past all them questions and let me just hit that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Right. I see what you're saying, but this is where I know when this person is not for me, when they try to get past that. Now, I just want to put this out there. I'm not trying to portray myself as something I'm not, but this is what I hate. I'm trying to have a serious conversation, and then they want to interject and they want to say, "Oh, are you mixed?" And I'm like, "What?" Yeah, they always want to ask, "Am I mixed?" And then my comeback is always, "Well, why would you ask me that? Don't I look black?" Well, they want to say, and for those of you who can't really see, but my hair this is my hair. It's long. It's like in the middle of my back. Years ago, it used to be down to my butt. So I used to always have this issue when I go out on a date. And then when I sit up and say, no, I'm black and black. And then they're like, well, I feel now this is when I know this is not the guy for me, because you're on this other level that I'm not on. And then they're like, well, you don't look at your skin tone, your hair. What does that got to do with it? We come in all flavors. Then I'm on, and I hate to say this, but then I'm on this what I call ebonic dumb conversation now with you about my facial features, my hair. Then that's when he want to be like, well, what, you got to have some white in your family, or you got to have this. Then it becomes this dumb conversation. And to me, that's where I feel I'm being disrespected, and where the etiquette is just gone. And I'm just, when they come with that line of questioning, and it seems like it's been boiling down to that, I'm just done.
Mm-hmm. Now, Boogie asked a great question. He wants to know what attracts you to these guys that you have these bad dates on. Like, what do you think it was that got you to a point where you went out with them?
Well, when I'm on the phone, we have good conversation. You seem normal. Then when I go out with you, the first date seems okay. The second date, I'm like, okay, some of them, well, one more chance. But then the third one, I definitely know what's up. And then it's a done deal.
But isn't it kind of disrespectful if by the third date he doesn't try to have sex with you?
I don't think so. No.
You gotta at least try, right? You gotta at least try.
I'm not even thinking about, I want to be in bed with you. More than anything, if I'm like, oh, he's handsome, he's nice, blah, blah, blah. But I'm not even third date. And the way I personally, for myself, I can't even begin to think like that, because I don't know anything about you. I don't even, you haven't been even tested.
Yeah.
Well, you gotta kick the tires before you know if you need to replace them or not. So
Really,
I have a different way of dating. I'm different. Before, I'll just put it out there, since we're talking about dating and these guys trying to go for third base. For me to even think about, oh, well, I'm going to sleep with this guy, it's going to at least be about 3 to 4 months before I even start thinking about
4 months?
Yes.
What if Jesus comes back before that 4 months? That's a long time. 4 months?
No, it's not. No, it's not.
That's long.
No, it's not. Because I don't know anything about you at all. You could be married and lying and have a whole lot of kids here and there.
Well, I mean, 4 months though.
No, that's not long, Kente.
That's long. That's all right, go to prison for 4 months and see if that's long.
Well, hey, prison and going without sex for 4 months are two different things.
That's a no sex prison. Okay, we have some questions. Kiana's getting on me. Let's see. He wants to know, do you know what you are looking for and what attracts? No, we said what attracts. Man, well, I had to say it just, for, I had to present the other side, quote unquote, my side. But let me ask this question. Let's talk about relationship etiquette. Okay. I kind of brought the situation to you earlier. And okay, so here's the situation, right? And before you answer, I want Shannon to answer this first. Okay, so you got a man, Shannon, right? This is your boyfriend, not some guy you just sleeping around with. This your man. This your man.
Let's clarify now.
All right. So, and then let's say he goes out of town for whatever reason, and you're out and about like you do in the middle of the night, and your car stops, right? And the closest person to you by far is your ex-boyfriend, who wants to sleep with you. Would you be out of pocket for hitting him up and helping you with your car issue?
First off, that would not be my issue because I have AAA. But to answer your question, you would definitely be out of pocket. That is in the appropriate.
Okay, all right, all right, all right. What do you think about that situation? Is it bad etiquette to do that in a relationship?
Yes, I think that's bad etiquette. And just like Shannon, I've had AAA. I've had it since '97. So there would never be a need for me to do that, but it is because then your man that you're with, your current man, is going to feel like, well, why are you calling this dude? You have more trust in him to help you out than me, and he wants you, so that would just be totally taboo.
Yep.
Okay, so we in agreement. Press 1 in the chat room if you agree with the ladies in here. Press 2 if you would call that X. Okay, everybody says 1. All right, so here's another situation for a guy. So okay, Shannon's man. We'll just you keep using Shannon. Shannon's man. Now this is her man, not some guy she just messing around with. He has a beautiful quilt cover on his bed, right? It's bomb. It just happened to be done by his ex-girlfriend. That's the one who does it. Is it bad etiquette in a relationship for him to keep the quilt that was done by his ex-girlfriend, or should he throw it in the barbecue pit? Go ahead first, Shannon.
It depends, and the only reason why I say it depends, and he's not on the show, so you won't mind me saying this out loud. I'm seeing someone whose last significant other has passed away.
Okay.
And so it depends. I mean, at the end of the day, some things are sentimental for a reason, and it doesn't mean that they at home pining away waiting for this person to return. But yeah, it depends. I'm not gonna say everything needs to be thrown away. Now, if y'all still got some history and there are some problems with that in terms of y'all current relationship, yeah, you might need to take that and send it on over to your mama's house.
All right, absent she's dead. Let's say she's alive and well. Is that bad? You think there's bad etiquette for the guy to keep the
I mean, how many women keep their ex's hoodies?
So what do you think, Miss Chic?
I don't have a problem with that. I mean, after all, it's just a material thing. I mean, I'm gonna tell you, we're not giving up anything any of my exes gave me. I kept all jewelry and I still wear it. So, and I would not give up anything because you feel that my ex bought it. I mean, if I'm not in contact with this man, I'm not in contact. But if it's something that someone bought me, I'm keeping it.
All right, and put 1 in the chat room if you would keep if they can keep the quilt. Put 2 in the chat room if you think they should burn the quilt. Okay, so all right. I've talked about this quite a bit on the show, so Shannon will know what I'm talking about. Is it okay to have in a relationship a friend of yours? Not that you have a kid with them or not. They're just someone that you used to have a sexual relationship with. This is someone that you still hang out with and all of that stuff, but you're in another relationship. Is that bad etiquette to keep that as a friend while you're in a serious relationship? You go ahead first, Ms. Sheik.
Okay, because I was gonna say,
that's hard. That's hard. Because one, it was a friend before I met you, and we're no longer sexually involved. And I feel, I'm just me. If I tell you up front, yes, this was some person I used to be in a relationship with, but no longer we're friends. And if this is a good friend, then that person is going to be around. And if you're not mature enough to handle our friendship, then I think you would need to get on. But I would, of course, let you know up front and be honest about the situation. Yeah, we had a past, but now we're just friends, because everyone has had a life before you came into mine,
refer to that as the ghost of Dick Pass.
Mm.
Just kind of hovering around, waiting to come back sometimes. And sometimes you see things that your mate doesn't see, right? So, and sometimes they'll do things when you're not around that he'll see, and you're like, what I'm saying? Because a lot of times they're really trying to put a monkey wrench into your situation. They may not do it directly in front of you, but they'll do little underhanded stuff. So I don't know. I think keeping the ghost of vagina or not the best thing to do if you want a relationship, with someone else. I don't know. What about you, Shannon? Would you have an issue with his ex, not baby mama, or just talking about an ex? They don't have nothing tying them together, but their past.
Yeah, we have an understanding. Anybody you screw, snip it, cut it, bye. Unless we all friends, and I know what level. If I know them and I know their character and I don't like it, they gotta go. It's just a reality. See you later. Adios. Bye.
My thing is, like, you got to do things to nurture and foster a relationship, and to me, those things go the opposite. Like, is it really that necessary? Like, if you really want to make the thing work, I'm not saying you got to jettison those people out, to another or something, but you got to think about it. Is that really the best thing? So, but I digress. Okay, so let's talk about etiquette in relationships. How you talk to your mate, right? Um, let's talk about how women talk to men, right? And to do stuff, right? The honeydew list never stops. And I feel like most men who are not crazy, they get it. There's a honeydew list, and sometimes you got to do things maybe you don't want to do, whatever. But sometimes ladies can drive us nuts with the way that they want you to enact their honeydew list or whatever. What's like some good etiquette for women in relationships to get their men to be more amenable to maybe some things you want him to do, right? Like maybe the squeaky door you want fixed, or or whatever.
Right.
So what would you say, like, what's a good way you think to communicate that in a way that maybe he will not take it negative?
Mm.
Well, I think first you need to, when you want him to do that honey-do list, first you need to kind of set the scene up. You need to make sure you're cooking him nice meals or lunches, and maybe make sure the day you want him to do it, give him a good massage, and just be sweet. And then when it's time to ask him, and make sure you want to do this a week in advance. Make sure you fed them well every day, a whole week, massaged them, sexed them up good. And then when you ask him, don't make it seem like don't tell him to do it first. Don't tell him. Ask him in a nice way where it doesn't seem like it's a chore.
Mm-hmm.
And don't ask him to do it on a day that if he's in sports, that football is going to be on all day or basketball is going to be on. You need to ask him to do it when it's a time frame when none of his sports programming is on, or his show, and be respectful and mindful of that. And I think when you are, and the way you ask him, and even say, well, if you need my help, I'll help you as well. Sometimes if you offer to say, hey, maybe he want his friends to come over and help him. Say, hey, you could ask so and so to come over and help you. I'll buy y'all some beer or something.
Okay, all right. See, I like that. That you know what, and that will get it done. That will definitely get it done. I agree. But now here's something hard. You got to give guys advice.
Oh
So
Lord.
a guy's dating Shannon. He loves Shannon, right? He loves Shannon. Shannon is amazing. He thinks she's an amazing woman. But Shannon came home with a hairdo that's not doing it for him. He normally likes her quirks where she just all of a sudden changes up. But this one is not the business. He really doesn't like it at all. So how do how do you communicate it, in a way where she won't get upset with you? That Shannon, this hairdo, I'm just not feeling it. You know, or is it bad etiquette to even, I mean, it is her hair.
Ooh, that's a tough one because a woman's hair, saying you don't like her hair, that's like saying, baby, I look like you didn't put on 20 pounds. That's hard. Oh, but it's a good question. I think what he should say before he says anything, I think he should say, oh, I see you got your hair done, something to the effect, oh, how you feel about it? Ask her how she feel about it. Do you like how it looked? And then if she say yeah, and then you could just ask her, oh, well, what made you get your hair in that type of style? And then she may have a comeback, of course, and then you could say, oh, okay, say, well, I ask her what type of look was she trying to go for, and then she comes back with the response and say, oh, okay, I see why you got your hair like that. But then he may want to comment and say something to the effect like, you wearing your hair in that hairstyle, it takes away from the beauty of your eyes or your eyebrows, or it doesn't.
Oh, okay, all right.
What you think about that, Shannon?
He said cussed out.
Oh, we gonna do something a little different here.
Oh,
What
man. I was about to
next
say
time is, and this is just me. I do this all the time at work because we try to empower people to make decisions that they want to make. But I would be like, what I really enjoyed the most is when you wore your hair up in those curls. It doesn't say that I don't like what you got going on now. It just says that
Right.
it's my favorite, opposed to, because now you didn't psychoanalyze my decisions. You didn't ask me about my thought process as if I'm crazy. And you might do
what was you going for? What was that?
Look, so you insulted my intelligence. You think I ain't got no good sense, and then you pretty much told me my hair was ugly. So tomorrow when I go back to the beauty shop to have them chop it all off, I'm gonna cut you. That's what's gonna happen.
That was a tough one, Kente. I didn't know how to come with that
Well,
one.
I mean, believe it or not, it's a big deal. Like, there's a lot of times where, a lot of guys. Some guys are just, they don't care. They're just gonna say, "Hey, what's up, Brad?" Who just came in there. But there's a lot of times where a guy is just not feeling what she's doing, but they don't want to get cut. So they're like, "How can I, say this?" Or some just say, "Okay, that's what she's doing. I guess that's what she's doing." For hopefully that trend will, maybe this is just a week-long thing. So
I like Shannon's answer.
yeah, but like, you know what though? Y'all will definitely tell us it ain't working, and feel nothing about it too. Like, our feelings be damned. Okay, like, you wearing that shirt? Like, yeah, I mean,
Well, I mean, sometimes y'all be doing the absolute most. Like a friend of mine at church, he had on plaid on the bottom and like a paisley print on top. And I was like, yo, Gina, come get your husband. What is happening right now? And he has a personality like mine, so we kind of just put stuff together and we don't care who got a problem with it. But he was low-key like, really, Shannon, you don't like my outfit? And I was like, yeah, nah, bro. You should actually leave church right now and go home in church. And I think I hurt his feelings. But
Oh, wow.
I mean, that's what it is. At the end of the day, if you are with me or I'm with you, I mean, and that's like friendship accountability. Like, how many times have we, and this is probably more so for the lady, not you, Kente. How many times have we been out somewhere and we've seen girlfriends together and you see that one girlfriend and you be like, well, why didn't tell her that wasn't okay?
Right.
Like, they saw her and they was probably all in the mirror talking about how cute they were. And did nobody have the courage to tell her, sis, you about 7 pounds more than that 5-pound bag that you just stuffed yourself in. What I'm
right.
So the last etiquette situation I want to bring up as far as relationships is the parents of the person that you're with. We love our mate's family, right? And you know, mama's cool, daddy's cool. We don't like them, right? I mean, we really don't like them. So disrespectful to your mate's family, especially their parents, right? Especially if they're not doing. But okay, let's say I don't like her mama, right? Being around her, her voice gets on. Just when I hear her voice, and I'm going to mom with me. I mean, no, I gotta walk on.
Wait,
huh?
You were breaking up. I didn't
all
catch
I
you
got
on
was you want to walk your turtle. Why are you walking the turtle anyway?
No, that's the BS excuse when you want to get out of something.
Right.
So your family, especially parents.
You're breaking up.
Oh, am I breaking up really bad or something?
Yeah, but don't rush because then you'll take the recording off.
I don't like their parents.
Okay.
So navigate that.
You want me to go first? Or you already have your answer?
Go ahead, Shannon.
Well, for me, I think there's a difference between respect and tolerance. I think at the end of the day, if you're committed to being with somebody, and I mean committed like we gonna do this thing called life together, there are people that you need to respect, and there are some people that you just tolerate. As it relates to parents, that's a fine line. You should be respectful to them for the season that you have them in. However, if you are this person's spouse, and every time y'all go over there for a Thanksgiving or Christmas or whatever, and they put your spouse down, yeah, there ain't gonna be too many of them times. I'm just gonna tell you that right now. And that's where my tolerance levels have thrown respect out the window. And I mean, in a sense, I'm going to respectfully tell you what you're not going to do to my husband no more. And then I'm going to tell them to have a good night in no uncertain terms and walk out the door.
All right. I like it. All right. So, Ms. Shik, I don't know. Has that ever happened to you where you...
Wait, you're breaking up.
Can you hear me?
Yes, now I can.
Okay. Has it ever happened to you where you were with somebody and you didn't like their folks?
Yes, it has. I was dating a guy, and his mother did not like me
Mhm.
at all. And it was so weird. I'll just tell this brief story. So this is when I was in college, and my major was nursing. And he told me, he after we had been dating for about a month, he wanted me to meet his mother. And I said, okay. And his mother was a nurse, but she was the LVN. At the time, I was going to school to be a RN. He said, whatever you do, don't tell my mother that you're going to school to be an RN. And I was like, why? He said, just don't do it. I go over there, we're talking because she made dinner. We were having a good time, and I just got caught up in the moment. Okay. And so she started asking me, well, what are you going to school for? And I said, to be a registered nurse. And as soon as I said it, the guy was dating, he gave me that look like, did not like, so right
You just
away.
said Candyman 5 times.
So needless to say, after that night, uh, when I went over like two more times after that, she was disrespectful. She was what they say, she was real salty towards me for whatever reason, because I was going to now because I wanted to be a nurse. So she was being extremely disrespectful, like how she would look at me, the type of conversation she would have towards me. And I just stopped going over there. I stopped, for example, let me tell you what she asked me. So, oh guys, my battery is running low. Oh shoot.
Uh-huh.
I got to plug in.
Uh-huh.
So, but basically, I used to always wear my hair in a French roll.
Mhm.
And I go over there. This is like after I had told her I was going to be a registered nurse. So this is the first time afterwards. And so I'm over there, we're talking. So she was like, oh, I like your hair. I'm like, thank you. And so she said, well, uh, since your hair is in a French roll, how are you able to have sex with your hair like that?
Oh,
Yes, she did. Yes, yes, she did ask me
I would have
that.
been like, honey, let me tell you how me and your son get down with the get down.
So yeah, and her son, his mouth dropped because he couldn't believe she asked that question. And I, you, hello.
Yeah, you're here. Uh-oh, we lost you.
Oh,
Wow, man. Don't say you an RN, because
man,
gee.
listen, I wish somebody would. Excuse me. I just saw this kid eating some food like he ain't never ate a meal before. I might hold off just a
Uh-oh, we lost her. So as we wait for Mashik to come back in, I want to recognize I see Artis in the chat room as well. Where you go, Kente, you disappeared as well. If you can see me in the chat room, press 1 in the chat.
I can see you. Oh, hey, Artis.
2. Boogie can't see me. You might need to refresh, you guys, if you can't see me. Malaika. All right, so we are running out of time. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna
There's coconut.
what we're gonna do is Shannon, how can we get you in social media and all that good stuff?
Social media, i.e., IG, Facebook, and Twitter. Shannon Ford, like the president, hyphen Jefferson, like the president. And what about you, Kente? How can we follow you?
You can get me at Kente F on Twitter, Kente Ferguson on Instagram, and of course the website is indieradio.org. And you can follow Miss on Instagram. I'm putting it in the chat room, but I also will say it. It's underscore PMS 24/7 underscore is her handle, and you can get her her series on why she loves hip hop. And I was hoping that before we can have a proper goodbye, but Okay, so I want to thank everybody for coming out. I'll stay here for a minute just to get her back on, but I want to thank Malaika, and we'll see you not next Monday. We'll actually be here for Tuesday, so that'll be a lot of fun.
Next
So,
Tuesday.
all right, you guys, peace.
Bye.